Once you're trapped, there is no escape. Endless rooms, an ominous abyss, and a sinister being with more significance than it ever should have had. What started as a simple duck mask became something much larger. Who is Pym, and how exactly does he infest and influence the mind? This lore becomes far deeper and more cursed than the simple duck's exterior implies. Pym's abundant weirdness is absolutely everywhere, and evidently it takes many forms. It starts as a discolored yellow exterior with an abnormally shaped beak and massive eye sockets. The eyes don't even fit in its sockets. Is this really even a duck anymore? Aside from its looks, it also behaves oddly too. Whether it be through weird posters, an endless maze, or scripted jump scares, this massive duck somehow finds itself in so many places. Sometimes Pym's presence is more invasive, with Pym directly chasing and interacting with the player. In fact, he shows up in at least 5 separate instances with similar weirdness each time, and yet it's just a PNG. Similar to other Roblox PNGs, Pym appears to belong to the category of creepy PNGs that hunt you down, named Nextbots. But this doesn't match what we have in store. How did we go from an uncanny duck picture to an otherworldly monster of unbelievable proportions? We're clearly missing something here. This is where the recent Slap Battles update changes everything. Previously, Pym just showed up everywhere, with a lot of context unexplained. Posters referenced Pym's existence, menacing drawings hinted at its presence, and other examples, but none of them actually explained what was going on. Perhaps what we have now can explain it instead. Rifts began showing up in this otherwise completely bright, goofy, and non-serious world. Inside them, eyes peer at you, and if you get close enough to them, whispers emit from what looks to be a literal crack in reality. Its purple color greatly contradicts the usual aesthetic, while the eyes imply the presence of something odd. Who's watching us? This is our first clue of something much deeper going on. This crack in the sky isn't here just for show though. If you go to a normally safe island off from spawn, it's now not nearly as safe as it originally is. Interacting with this bench reveals the crack in the sky once again, which is now shaking violently, emitting foreboding noises, and eventually a strange looking duck head falls out of it. Whoa, finally we're seeing a sign of Pym that's actually not a PNG, it's 3D instead. But why are its eyes missing? The signature eyes that Pym always has are gone, and the head is not just discolored, it appears cracked, dirty, and literally has holes in it. Something is very wrong here. Upon further inspection though, this isn't just a head. This appears to instead be a mask. The differences between this mask and Pym's usual appearance are very compelling. We really don't know what's going on. Pym's new appearance is disturbing and questionable, enough to imply that perhaps interacting with this mask is not the best idea. And yet that's not enough to stop us, is it? We pick up the mask, inspecting it closer, noticing its damaged nature. And clearly, we were holding it too long. The mask begins to quickly move, eagerly moving towards the player's head as black tentacles emerge from inside the mask, grabbing hold of the player's head and forcing itself onto us. Shocked and confused, the player reacts, seemingly in pain, as the presence of the purple fog reveals that this isn't just some ordinary mask. No, this mask seems cursed. Something is deeply messed up inside this thing. And now that we were impulsive enough to actually pick it up, we are being forced into a mental prison that we could never have predicted. And from the ways things unfold, it's clear that not only could we be trapped forever, but Pym is something much more grim than just a duck. What is going on here? We are now exposed to a world that is completely different. Distorting visuals and Pym's face practically flying at us seems to imply that we are now under the influence of something. And the moment we come to, we are greeted with a disturbing world. Dark gray walls surround us, oddly colored purple torches light the walls, and a floating colorful background fills the outside of the windows and the sky above us. The absence of the ceiling, along with the tripping nature of the backgrounds, only further proves that we are completely out of it, finding ourselves in a place that we clearly don't belong. The first thing we see is a warning. Don't move. This is another example of the many crude drawings that we've seen around the Slap Battles world. But due to this drawing's presence inside a literal duck mask resembling Pym, it's a lot more worrisome than any of the other ones. It's literally telling us that if we see any sign of Pym, we cannot move. This is disturbing. We're really in danger, aren't we? The only option ahead of us is opening the door. Doing so reveals a circular room with a wheel that must be turned. It looks almost like a pirate ship's steering wheel, but this is definitely not that. Since this wheel is literally the only thing here, we have to interact with it. Doing so literally shifts the room, causing the door to move across the wall as the room rotates. What? How is this possible? Whatever this world is, it doesn't appear to have normal physics, and what we're about to see only proves this even more. Opening the door again shows a completely different room, one that reveals the challenge we have to face. A glove is sealed away in a cage locked behind 5 different keys. Each keyhole has a different aesthetic, with backgrounds similar to the colorful one from before, but they're somehow more disturbing now. The backgrounds seem to imply that there are different parts of this world, and our new challenge is clear. We have to somehow get that glove. With no other escape, searching this questionable place is our best bet in making that happen. This is the beginning of an insane gauntlet. Getting these keys is a lot easier said than done, and the longer you hunt for them, this world gets weirder and weirder, showing you that you are not alone. For example, Pym takes another form here. Periodically, he jumps on your screen with a loud sound, forcing you to listen to the warning you were previously given, standing completely still. Not doing so leads to instant death, forcing you to start over. Aside from Pym, massive eyes are inside the walls. They are searching for any intruders, and if they see you, your run is instantly over as well. No, the hearts at the bottom are misleading. You can't survive everything. Weeping angel statues are here as well, moving whenever we turn our backs, and traps like arrows, chest mimics, and disappearing platforms prevent us from confidently moving forward. Why are any of these threats even here? Although the cursed nature of the mask is unclear, we can gather some things. Because dying forces you to start from scratch, and since no enemy ever stops fighting you, it implies the possibility of an endless loop. Wherever we have found ourselves, we are stuck and unable to leave until we finally make sense of this world and find all of the keys. It's almost like some sort of purgatory. Or it could be some sort of manifestation of the darkest parts of our minds. Which brings us to an interesting question. Is all of this originating from the Pym mask or ourselves? We don't yet know. Once we eventually continue this loop enough times, we find all of the keys. Taking them back to the start reveals the hidden glove, and interacting with it finally gives us more context as to what's going on here. The world warps around us, teleporting us to a very different location. This area is calm and gray. It's like a template with emptiness and a lack of movement. It's almost like a limbo. This is very different from what we've seen before, seemingly almost temporarily safe. Why is this here in such a dangerous world? Perhaps this next character can give answers. We are greeted by a strange figure who introduces himself as the Memory Wizard. They are quick to communicate with us, warning us that time is limited, and they reveal crucial lore about Pym that is critical in understanding what is going on here. Apparently, in his words, Pym is a mental parasite who is currently, quote, feeding off of your fears and memories. This explains a lot, and it also implies that perhaps my earlier speculation is right. This might not just be Pym's world, it could be a world made from the darkest, most suppressed parts of ourselves, now brought out by Pym's influence. And the parasite wording matches very closely with the disturbing tentacles from before, and the fact that the mask was almost excitedly looking for a host. But we're not defenseless against this parasite, but it comes with downsides. The Memory Wizard states how they have already succumbed to the influence of Pym. This implies that this individual, along with us, is not the only victim of Pym's influence, and yet they also state that they know of a way to suppress Pym, a way that involves the glove that we are now holding, the Mare Warder glove. Interesting. This seems to literally mean a glove that wards away nightmares, and the behavior of this glove seems to fit that description. With the Mare Warder, we're able to dash, leap, and illuminate the world with light, and evidently this light is needed to combat Pym as he thrives in the darkness. But that's not all the glove can do. The Memory Wizard complements our prowess with new abilities, stating that they know of a spell that can, quote, seal his fate for good, and yet he has no time to finish. The world warps again, the Pym mask floats above us, as if to taunt us.
That's your day, man.
And this is where our story completely changes, and also where Pym completely changes. He is no longer just a cursed duck or a mental invasion. What we see next suggests that Pym is now something much bigger, more disturbing, and with more influence than ever before. Perhaps we might actually be screwed after all. It's now time for an encounter that might give us our answers. The chat floods with disorganized text, the world shifts, and the most disturbing depiction of Pym yet emerges. We are now faced with a version of Pym so much different from everything else that we've seen. Pym is massive, completely enshrouded in darkness, and completely blocks us. And evidently, his mental influence is not gone. If anything, it's only increased, as he does everything he can to get in our way, shifting the world around us, releasing shockwaves to knock us down, and taunting us at every step. And even with him looming over us, we have to move forward, as doing nothing results in us being sucked into the abyss. Honestly, this is so different to me that I believe that this might be the true version of Pym. All the other versions, in my opinion, are either just references or smaller, weaker kinds of this Pym, and this strength might very well be our demise if we don't figure out things soon. With the Memory Wizard gone, we are completely alone with Pym. All we can do is fight, and that we do. The blocks in front of us are visually hidden, and the only way to reveal them is to use our flares to light up the world. Glowing orbs of energy are how we combat Pym, but reaching them is easier said than done. Pym looms over the world, presenting us with looping pathways until we find all of them, and the orbs themselves are not visible until they are uncovered by our light, and since we are limited by the amount of mana we've used, running out of mana or falling off could mean certain failure, with the fight looping until we succeed. There it it is again, evidence of the world looping. This really is endless, huh? But notice how we aren't sent back to the beginning. Instead, we are put directly back in front of Pym as if we never died. It's almost like Pym is now mentally closer to us, as if he now has greater control. Although this is absolutely not a good sign for us, perhaps it also means that since Pym is closer, we are closer to the source of the curse. I don't believe all hope is lost. Though difficult, finding all the orbs of light eventually reveals the next part of this process, facing Pym directly. Holy moly, dude, look at this. Pym's full size is revealed. He is bigger than any of the platforms around us. Even though there are light pylons that can be activated to weaken Pym further, his gigantic size in comparison to us makes it feel like all this is futile. And yet we have no other options, do we? Giving up simply means being caught in the loop again, and so we have to try. This is the true beginning of the Pym boss fight. Pym does everything he can to stop us from creating more light, by releasing shockwaves, creating poison explosions, releasing Pym clones, and more. Activating the light is not at all easy, but not all of Pym's attacks are as straightforward as they seem. One of Pym's attacks distorts our screen with static, making it harder to see and make sense of the world. I don't know about you, but to me this feels very out of place. Why is TV like static among Pym's list of attacks? The only way to stop it is to deflect another floating orb, an embodiment of static, before the effect goes away, and it's awfully hidden. This appears to be one of the most questionable ways Pym exerts his control over us. But here's something else. Throughout the fight, Pym directly speaks to us. He has a voice, and he seemingly wants to make sure we know our place.
Enjoy the fall you so eagerly search for.
And as for the implications of the quotes, let's just say they aren't good. The world is about to change. Your existence won't belong there. I am now a part of you, and that is the truth. These words imply that we are now scarred forever in some way. Pym is somehow united to us, for better or for worse, and that comment about the world changing seems to imply that Pym has greater plans than just influencing us. It's almost as if he wants to control more people than just us. These dark implications only make it more difficult to get through this fight, as we really don't have the answers yet. But we aren't powerless, and due to the nature of the loop, we don't give up. Once all the light pylons are active, a lot happens. First, we finally learn what the memory wizard was referring to when they mentioned a special spell, Shout. This appears to be the spell that might actually set us free. However, there's not much time to think. Our vision is impaired by floating eyes, much like those we saw in the earlier rifts, before we agreed with an even worse challenge. Two floating eyes, very reminiscent of the twins boss hit from Terraria, are now standing between us and our escape. Another version of us is trapped in the middle, which seems to be what the massive Pym has now been reduced to, but it is completely blocked by a large barrier. Clearly, we won't find our escape until these two bosses are dealt with. The eyes float above us, creating shockwaves and attempting to eat us alive. I find their presence rather odd. They don't appear to belong, and aside from the purple eye enemies from before, there's not much in this world that appears to resemble them. Why are they here, and what do they have to do with Pym? It's hard to tell what's going on. Even still, we're forced to oppose them. Knocking them down and preventing their attacks helps us weaken them, and eventually we're able to completely kill them both, but not before the remaining eye enrages, attempting to avenge its fallen comrade. Perhaps what the memory wizard said about our prowess with the Mare Warder was correct, because eventually we best both eyes, revealing the middle platform. This begins a very thought-provoking sequence. Using our new Shout spell allows us to finally come to terms with the world we've been stuck in. Pym is now a reflection of us, completely identical aside from the cursed Pym mask. But perhaps Pym has been weakened enough because we are able to completely remove the mask from our doppelganger. Does this mean that we're free? But then the world shakes, the ground begins to fall, the world is collapsing. Whatever happened to Pym is no longer relevant. All the player and our clone can do is escape. A new rift opens in front of us and we dash towards it hurriedly, and once we reach it, the world is back to normal? We fall back on the main Slap Battles island. By the looks of it, we are now free from Pym's influence. The clone is gone, the mask is gone, and all traces of the memory wizard are no more. By the looks of it, we are now completely out. Even so, we are no longer the same. The evidence that we have gathered so far is starting to form a theory that is very disturbing, and believe it or not, there's even more evidence that helps us understand what might be going on here. Even though we are free, why is everything so different? You see, there's more to the story, some critical pieces of evidence that we haven't covered yet, and we're about to cover them in full. First, there's actually a room in the earlier key gauntlet that I haven't covered yet. If you know exactly where to go, you'll find a room with insane lore significance. 3 shadows loom before us, and a message reads, I've seen everything and everyone that you've seen. If you know anything about slap battles lore, or perhaps if you've watched my other videos, this is instantly recognizable. Every single shadow represents a different boss in the game. From left to right, we have the Guide, the Eternal Bob, and Dodecahedron Dave. All of these are lore significant bosses that we have, by the looks of it, canonically fought before encountering Pym. And since the bottom message is highly likely to be coming from Pym himself, this can only mean one thing. Pym somehow knows everything we have done. He knows how we've beaten the other bosses, and none of it is new to him. This is an ominous realization. It's scary because it means that Pym has basically already learned us, allowing this mental parasite to have more influence over our mind. Second, it also implies that Pym's strength and influence rivals that of the other beings. Note that this is my speculation, but the all-knowing implications of this message seem to imply that. This isn't the only revealing lore we have in store for us though. There's also more to the fight itself. After beating Pym for the first time, you gain access to a hard mode. In this version, Pym looks completely different. He's now even more hidden by the darkness. All of his yellow color is gone, and his beak is now absent, replaced by tentacles that surround his mouth. This is even more disturbing than before, and the fight itself obviously is much harder. This scarier Pym supports my earlier theory in a concerning way. If it's possible that the normal Pym's strength rivals that of other bosses, what about the strength of this thing? Do we really know what we're dealing with? This next clue only supports these concerns. One of Pym's voice lines reads, "I am a revenant, I will always be here." Weird. This might be the most questionable thing yet. The word revenant implies that Pym has been lying in wait for a while, hiding in the darkness, and has been haunting the world for a long time. Our earlier theories of Pym attempting to influence as many people as possible supports this as well. And lastly, there's one more damning clue. After beating both bosses, you get access to exclusive gloves for use in the main game. The one you gain from beating hard mode has a clue to this entire mystery. It's literally called Static. This shares the same name as the earlier out-of-place attack that Pym has. The gloves tooltip reads, "Despite their souls being free, Pym's corruption has caused them to become distorted." This, combined with everything else, says it all. Doesn't everything seem connected? From the endless loop to the constant evidence of Pym's strength and mental influence, it seems like we have our answer. Here is my overarching theory about Pym's boss fight. Although Pym is a mental parasite, its plans appear to go far beyond impacting one person alone. According to my theory, Pym is seemingly planning on growing a collection of trapped souls, a hive mind which he feeds off of to get stronger and stronger. The more strength he gains, such as the strength he gained from capturing the memory wizard, the more souls he can claim. And even if a soul is as skilled as we turned out to be, Pym's influence remains in that person forever. This could be why he's present everywhere in the world and takes so many forms. No matter what you do, once you come in contact with those rifts and engage with that mask, you will never be the same person. Pym becomes a part of you, and even though we've defeated him, Pym is always there, always looming over the world, always ready to claim more souls. Isn't this terrifying? Though Pym is able to be defeated, it doesn't appear like Pym ever gives up. Assuming all of my theories are true, Pym's constant presence in this world implies that few beings in the world rival Pym's influence. I wonder what implications this has for the rest of the lore of slap battles, as the lore does not end with this boss. There's so many more bosses to analyze, and although we'll get to them soon, for now, I'll ask you this. Do you think any of them will rival Pym? With that final thought, thank you so much for watching. I'm glad to bring you guys this video. It was a blast to make. I look forward to covering more lore from this game along with many other games just like this one. I hope we cross paths again, but until then, live well and have a great day. Take care of yourself.